Previously on My Hero Academia, the battle between Hawks and Endeavor versus All for One raged forth, but because of the damage done to Hawk's wings, he wasn't as fast as he could have been. And in order to get Endeavor off his game, All for One used his venomous tongue in order to speak words that would enrage Endeavor at every possible turn, leaving Endeavor open to a vicious attack to his midsection, as well as Hawks about to be consumed in a massive blast. It was only thanks to the assistance of Tokoyami as well as Jiro kept things from getting too intense. Now the question remains, can Endeavor get back up? And will the two students' assistance turn the tide of battle? Or will they prove themselves to be just another liability? Let's find out, shall we? My Hero Academia number 355. Extras, ouch, damn. And you see Endeavor hit the ground with a thud, bleeding from the wound that was inflicted upon him. It looks as though Hawks' feathers tried to land him as gently as possible. And Endeavor thinks about Shoto, thinking, Shoto, are you hanging in there? Shoto! And then Toya, oh Toya, I hope you're both. Then he, I guess, regains a bit of his consciousness and says, what's the matter with me? What am I doing? As he tries to get up but falls again, he thinks, my anger, all for one is misplaced. I brought all of this upon myself. This fight, this wound, everything. And you see his blood pour upon the ground. Meanwhile, up in the sky, Hawks, Tokoyami, and Jiro face off against All for One. Hawks thinks to himself, he just barely managed to dodge and keep his lungs safe. I could tell from the sound of his breathing, which my feathers picked up on. I was talking about when Endeavor was struck and he was landing Endeavor. Thought all of that in 1 second. Dang. He's still alive and kicking. We go forward with that assumption. And then Hawks cries out, Tsukiyomi! Tokoyami says, enough, Hawks! What, you've got no place in this fight? Is that it? I was sent to this location as additional support in the event of a stalemate between the top powers. Isn't that right? Hawks thinks, true, but the thinking was that we'd have Endeavor around. He'll slaughter you. Ugh, am I really that pathetic? And he tells Tokoyami, help me out again, hero. Tokoyami says, of course. Ugh. And as All for One's arm starts to deform and distort, he says, I can't be frittering away my time here. Not when my other self could be in danger. And then he thinks to himself, that didn't finish off Endeavor. So long as he still breathes, he'll stand back up. Which means that during this phase, these heroes' goal will be buying time until he's on his feet, harangued by this foul duo. What a nuisance. The weakest link in their chain at this point would be here. Oh, yep. And he sends all of his evil mouth tendrils right after Jiro. But suddenly Jiro is in the air, dodging out of it. Hawks' wings. You see Jiro being picked up by her jacket by Hawks' wings. All for One turns and says, Hawks, as two of Hawks' feathers come slamming into his breathing apparatus on his head as Hawks brings in his two swords against All for One again. Hawks thinks, I ain't letting those kids die. And then he shouts, fly however you need to, Tsukiyomi. I'll back you up. Tokoyami manages to catch Jiro, and Dark Shadow says, you okay, Jiro? Jiro says, yeah. Tokoyami says to Jiro, aim for his mask, crack it via sound waves, and we win. Jiro says, yeah. And of course, Jiro thinks to herself while shaken, I showed up today ready for anything. Or so I thought. I couldn't even see that coming. And she's obviously trembling. Even my response to that malice was delayed. Every hair standing on end now. Midoriya, Aoyama, you're telling me this was the threat looming over you all along? Oof. All for One's arm starts to distort and twist and again. And she says, oh, she's trembling, poor girl, having shown up to this like just another lesson at school, like a deluded extra. As I don't even know how to describe that, like a twisted cannon pops out of All for One's arm right before Tokoyami and Jiro. As they're shocked, Hawk sends his feathers their way, and just All For One unleashes a massive blast, like throwing an elephant on top of a fly. Ooh. And you see Hawks' feathers trying to move the blast away so Tokiyami and Jiro aren't completely caught in the blast, but that leaves Hawks prone as All For One shoots out those weird tendril cybernetic things, and they just shred through Hawks. And All For One thinks, try this, Hawks. Too much sheer volume for you to possibly cope with given your limited feathers. You've been reduced to such an ordinary schlub. And All For One says, you children just happen to be paired off with these big shots, yet you imagine yourselves special somehow, worthy of facing the Demon Lord himself. And you see Jiro and Tokoyami, they're alright, but they are, oof. I think Jiro lost one of her, she lost one of her ears. Jesus. And Jiro says, you want to talk about being scared, or strong, or weak, or special? Well, I don't give a crap. You hear me? Screw all that. My problem is that you're the one who made my pals cry. And Jiro sends out a massive blast of sound waves right at All For One. Jiro uses Heartbeat Surround Legato, and All For One just tanks it. Caught within the sound waves, he says, motives, words, deeds, abilities. And he thinks to himself, all I'm seeing here is the stuff of weaklings. And he shouts, not nearly good enough. Your power is so very underwhelming. And he readies an attack. Okay, I see what's happening here. It's in the mental landscape. You see all these figures holding back All For One. And then he thinks, the quirks I've stolen in the past, they're very well impossible. Even New Order didn't manage this. They were spurred on by the weakness of such pushovers. Not completely unforeseen. We have seen that quirks seem to hold some form of will. It just makes me wonder, why are they only just now fighting against him? Meanwhile, as Jiro continues her onslaught, she cries out, Hawks! And you see Hawks trying to go in for All For One, and he thinks to himself as he prepares his sword to strike. The first hit, then 2, and 3. Every time I've hit the exact same spot to keep that crack growing. Enough cracks to bring any dam down. As he brings his sword into the flow of the sound wave onslaught, he cries out his attack, Sound Wave Vibration Enhanced Flight Feather Blade. And he strikes against All For One's apparatus, breaking his sword into 1,000,000 pieces, but managing to crack open All For One's breathing apparatus. So if nothing else, he might at least be a little bit easier to take down, just because he might have a harder time breathing. I kind of like this. Again, Jiro, Tokiyami, Hawks, Endeavor, some really great characters in my opinion. It hurts me to see Jiro just lose just one of those parts of her like that. That one, that saddens me. But I really do wonder, was it simply because of Jiro that those quirks within All For One awoken? Is this a special ability of her power? Or is it something more than that? I don't know. I feel like I need a little bit more of an explanation, but it was still cool to see such a combination kind of at least manage to throw him off a little bit. Now, whether or not All For One, is going to be completely taken off guard, because it's just like, we cracked his helmet a little bit, but is it still operational? Can he still breathe properly? Like, this wasn't an effort to take him down. This was an effort to at least exploit a very glaring weakness to him. I just keep looking at Jiro's injury, and something within the depths of my soul feels so sad. is again one of my favorite characters. I love Jiro's ability. I've always thought about just how powerful it could really be. And the fact that, like, if she grows even more, it'll be absolutely devastating. But, losing an arm and a leg didn't stop Miriko, so... And this definitely didn't stop Jiro, but, my poor baby. My poor baby. And the question also remains, is Endeavor gonna get back into the fight? I can't see him just being completely out. You know, that's a little too much. Alright, we'll just have to wait and see, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about the damage they've managed to do against All For One? Do you feel it's plausible, or does it make him seem weaker? Do you feel like they shouldn't have been able to do anything at all against him? And what do you think about all those quirks within All For One, I mean? What do you think about that moment with all of them awakening and trying to hold him back? I feel weird about it, because it's just like, man, why has that never been an issue before? Really does make me wonder. But again, let me know your thoughts, and subscribe, that way you don't miss out on the next video. I know there's a break next week, but hey, join in on the fun while you still can. Or don't. I ain't your daddy, but I still love you like one. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye!